Hello everyone, welcome to another draft class recap video. Today we're talking about the Seattle Seahawks, so let's begin. Before we actually get started, I want any Seahawks fans or Seattle fans watching this to go to the comment section and let me know, what do you think of the direction of this team currently? How do you feel about the previous three drafts, especially the first round picks? And are you frustrated at all? Do you trust the process? What's the general consensus amongst Seattle Seahawks fans about what this team is right now? Because from an outsider's perspective, which is what I am, outsider, um, I don't really kind of understand what the direction is. I don't know what the draft process is. It seems to me like they try to find value in places where other people don't, which I admire that approach, but at the same time, the last three first round draft picks that this team has made, Rashad Penny, LJ Collier, and now Jordan Brooks, I'm a little confused. So if somebody could enlighten me as to what the protocol is in Seattle, I would be very much appreciative of that. So, having said that, let me give you my take on this draft, and we're going to begin with the aforementioned round one, pick 27, Jordan Brooks, linebacker from Texas Tech. College career featured 366 tackles, 32 tackles for loss, and 6.5 sacks. Third in the Big 12 in solo tackles last year with a total of 66, and first in the Big 12 in tackles for loss last year with 20. Um, this was kind of a surprise pick for a lot of people because, I mean, going into this process, as I had said for months, that trying to find the player to mock to the Seattle Seahawks when they're picking this late in the first round is extraordinarily difficult to do. And the previous two drafts sort of emphasized that with Rashad Penny and then AJ Collier from TCU. So you're kind of stuck in trying to do mock drafts with the Seahawks, trying to figure out what the heck they're looking for. Um, in this draft, for this draft with the mocks leading up to it, I had a lot of edge rushers back and forth for this pick, the 27th overall pick in the first round. Jordan Brooks or a linebacker in general never really crossed my mind, but that's probably why I'm sitting here and not in a front office. But at the same time, I don't think anybody saw a running back, or especially Rashad Penny, coming out of the first round for the Seahawks 2 years ago. So it's a mystery and continues to be a mystery on how Seattle evaluates talent and how Pete Carroll is making decisions in lockstep with the general manager to build this team. And I just don't. We haven't really seen the results recently, and I'm not sure really what the direction is. But Jordan Brooks is an absolutely great player. I had him pegged as probably a second round pick, not a first round pick. But at the same time, if you don't think he's going to be there at the next time that you come up, and you don't feel like trading up, or you don't think you can make that trade, by all means take the player. But at the same time, you have to be ready for the criticism. Not that I'm being overly critical of this. Don't take that sort of impression. I just I'm at a loss for how to contextualize this in a logical manner. So that is my struggle with Seattle Seahawks in their drafts and their first round picks. Now they've made draft picks that I really like. I like the DK Metcalf pick from last year. I was really high on him. I thought Metcalf was a first round pick. He ends up sliding into the third because of the 3-cone drill, which is nonsense, and because of his limited route tree, which is also nonsense. Anyway, moving on, round two, pick 48, Darrell Taylor, edge rusher from Tennessee. This is a pretty good pick. He probably could have had a little bit later, but that's debatable. It's neither here nor there. For his career, 118 tackles, 26 and a half tackles for loss, 19 and a half sacks. Second in the SEC last year in sacks with 8.5. Are they trying to replace Jadeveon Clowney? Absolutely. They've been trying to get a better presence on the edge for a number of years. Can Darrell Taylor be that player? Sure, he absolutely can. I mean, he was pretty good at Tennessee during his time there. So it's just probably not somebody that's going to come in and make an immediate impact like you would see with some of the first round talent that came out this year. And last, moving on, round three, pick 69. Nice. Damian Lewis, guard from LSU. Getting better in the trenches on the offensive line, I think, is absolutely a direction that they need to be going with Russell Wilson now on his renewed contract extension, if you will, and taking care of the captain or the shortstop of your offense is just of the utmost importance, especially when it's somebody like Russell Wilson. I don't even want to imagine what this team would look like if they have to resort to their backups. Moving on, round 4, pick 133, Colby Parkinson, tight end from Stanford. I think this is a pretty good pick. I mean, Will Dissly is a pretty good player, but at the same time, if you can get better at a position where you've been lacking recently, by all means, go for it. Parkinson's career at Stanford, 87 receptions, 1,171 yards, 12 touchdowns. Yeah, in a tight end class that was pretty light on explosive and elite talent, I think Parkinson is a pretty good consolation prize to walk away with. Round 4, 144, DJ Dallas, running back from Miami. This one is an intriguing pick to me because, like Zach Moss, if you've seen the Bills recap video that I did, and I actually did a film room video on Zach Moss, he's one of the other 2 Power 5 conference running backs that is very elusive and very good at making people miss tackles. So I'm very intrigued about DJ Dallas. If it wasn't for the fact that this team just signed Carlos Hyde a few days ago, I'd be more confident that he's going to get some significant playing time. But, you know, it's a long process. We still got to go through what we can of training camp and preseason before teams decide on their rosters. But Carlos Hyde, Seattle just loves collecting these running backs and trying to just plug in holes and see what fits. But for DJ Dallas, his career at Miami, 265 carries, 1,527 yards, 17 touchdowns. And as I said, the thing that doesn't show up on the stat sheet all that often is the guy is elusive. Moving on to round 5, pick 148, Alton Robinson, edge rusher from Syracuse. This is a pretty good value pick, 115 tackles, 32 tackles for loss, and 19 sacks. You can see they're loading up on guys that absolutely do get in the backfield on a consistent basis. And I think this is going to be a pretty good, at the end of the day, if they can develop him properly, this could be a very good late round pick. Moving on to round 6, pick 214, Freddie Swain, wide receiver from Florida. Nothing too exceptional, 68 receptions, 996 yards, 15 touchdowns, 9th in the SEC last year in receiving touchdowns with 7. Also able to handle kickoff return and punt return duties. And then moving on for the last, I didn't write down his stats for some reason, but Stephen Sullivan, tight end from LSU, round 7, pick 251. Again, doubling up on that position that has been lacking recently, and I think that's good enough as an analysis. I did look up the stats, I just don't know why I didn't put pen to paper for that guy, but there you have it. That is the Seattle Seahawks 2020 NFL Draft. It continues to be difficult to predict what they're going to do, and it continues to be difficult to explain what they've done. And not that that's really a bad thing or a good thing, it's just that they don't fit the mold of a traditional franchise who uses the draft in a manner that we expect them to. They march to the beat of their own drum, and that's absolutely fine. If ownership has the confidence in Pete Carroll and the general manager and the front office to put together a championship roster using this method, then by all means go for it. We saw, and it's no different than instances in the past where maybe this isn't an exactly logical comparison, but where coaches get a lot more leeway in how they control player personnel, with teams like Chip Kelly when he was with the Eagles, who had control over the roster, made a lot of very poor decisions and was fired because of it. But it seems that Pete Carroll, and it's probably because of the one Super Bowl and the playoff success during the era of the Legion of Boom, where they have been given a shorter or a longer leash, if you will. So we'll see how this continues to play out. If I were to use the magnets, the magnet of jealousy, am I jealous of any of these picks? Not particularly. Would I have liked to seen somebody like maybe a good late round value like Alton Robinson go to the Vikings? Sure, yeah, that would have been good. So I'm kind of jealous of that one, but just in a sort of, there's not much that I'm really jealous of, type of deal. And the pick of intrigue is probably gonna be DJ Dallas, and that's because they already have Chris Carson. They invested a first-round pick in Rashad Penny, which they're still, I think they're regretting. I don't know. Seahawks fans, let me know what you think. And now they've signed Carlos Hyde to the roster. You throw DJ Dallas into this mix, that's a lot of mouths to feed. Chris Carson, I think, is an exceptionally undervalued running back in this league. He should be getting the bulk of the work, and I just don't know what will lie in the cards for DJ Dallas as far as opportunities this year go. So that is my take on the Seattle Seahawks 2020 NFL Draft. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. We're about wrapped up with these.